Hey guys, it's Jam8Jam. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm interviewing James.
Hi guys, I'm James. Hi guys, this is James and welcome to my channel. Now today we have a very special video with yet another special guest. And I know I say this every video, but today we're joined by Mr. Daniel Tao. And he's very different from my previous guests on this channel because he actually doesn't go to uni in HKUST. We're actually high school friends together. We both went to high school in Australia. Both grew up in Australia as well. But obviously I came to Hong Kong. He stayed in Australia and he's actually at University of Queensland studying currently. So I'll let him do a brief self-introduction to get this video started.
So I'm Daniel. I study finance and economics. As James said, we went to high school together. James obviously went off to HKUST. I stayed in University of Queensland, which is in Queensland.
Hey man, you're on the floor. No shit.
Alright, so to kick things off, can you give us like a brief overview of the Australian university landscape? What the universities are, what's special about UQ, why did you choose it, and yeah, what do you think about Australian universities in general? I know you don't have too much comparison experience with other unis, but at least talk about it from your perspective first and see if there's any similarities with us.
Yeah, sure. So for those of you who are not aware, Australia is split into states. So I come from Queensland. In Queensland, there's basically like 3, maybe 4 major unis. So there's Queensland University, that's the biggest one, or University of Queensland. There's Queensland University of Technology, so we call that QUT. There's Griffith University, and then there's also Bond University. There's also some smaller ones like James Cook University, Sunshine Coast. James Cook. That's why James will cook.
I cook. I'm the type of man that will cook for my family.
Yeah, but there's also some smaller unis. Those ones are mainly for med students. There's also obviously other universities in other states. So some of you guys would have heard of maybe like University of Sydney, Monash University, Australian National University. So those are all in different states. Why did I choose UQ? Well, firstly, inside Australia, I wanted to stay inside Australia first of all, and then I wanted to stay in my state, so that already narrowed it down. And then because I wanted to do something economics related, just having a quick look through what's the best sort of economics degree in Queensland, it's pretty obvious that was UQ, and I was like, okay, then my decision's made for me.
So for me, as soon as I graduated, I stayed in Australia for like 9 months, taking a sort of a gap year kind of thing because the timing is different before coming to Hong Kong, whereas you went straight into university. So give us a brief overview of the Australian universities. Going into uni from high school, was the transition easy for you? Was it rough? What was your initial impression of University of Queensland? And yeah, anything else you want to share about that?
As you said, everyone had like a bit of a gap, but obviously you had a longer gap since the academic year starts later in Hong Kong. So I guess you can say jumping straight in, it wasn't like that, I wouldn't say like difficult. Like immediately you go to uni and then you're kind of like, wait, that's it? It ramps up. Obviously uni goes to a higher level than high school does in terms of depth of content. But I think between like the fact that, you're only doing 4 courses a sem, so you don't have to study like English at the same time as doing your math, right? So I think between like the fact that it's more focused on like what you got sort of good at, or at least hopefully you pick a major you're good at. And first year they try to sort of level the playing ground, so if you were doing really good in high school, then you probably find first year pretty easy. So yeah, to answer your question, like I think the transition into uni is pretty easy, but it does ramp up pretty quickly.
You guys get to choose your own courses. You did 4 courses every semester. Here we have we can choose a lot of our courses, even though it's from like the same pool of courses, but you choose them, especially electives and stuff. And it can get quite competitive here as well with the course selection as well, because there's like quotas and everything. I know the GPA system in Australia is out of 7, whereas here is out of 4.3. So there's a few differences there, but what do you think about that?
Right, okay, so it's specific to the degree in Australia. Like for me, my degree is quite structured. So basically everyone who does my degree, the first 2 years is the same for everyone. But that's not like the same for the degree. So, if you're looking at someone who's doing like Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, obviously there's like 20 different majors to choose from, more than that even, right? There's so many electives, like you can just choose.
So another big thing actually for people in Asia, when it comes to university and academics, because we both did IB, so we should know what a competitive environment is like. But in UST specifically, or other Hong Kong universities for that matter, it's a known fact that it's super competitive, and that the academic culture of grinding in the library for hours and trying to get the best grades possible is like what you need to do in university. So what is it like in Australia? Is it the same? Do people still really try to work for those top grades, or are there other aspects that might be there as well?
Yeah, it's a great question, and this is probably where it differs the most, I think, between Australia and Hong Kong, or like I guess Asian universities in general, right? Like, yeah, as you said, we did IB, and part of IB is that grind, because you've got grade boundaries to work with, and the grade boundaries are set by relative performance. So you essentially need to be better than some percentage of other IB students, because they set the boundary based on the bell curve of the scores. And that does induce obviously quite a competitive environment. Like back in high school, we were obviously grinding for our lives.
Okay, so when you said let's get together and study, you actually meant study. Kiss me.
Put it bluntly, it really depends on the degree, but for 99% of degrees in UQ, that's not happening. So there is nowhere near the same level of I need to get like 100% on this, right? So there's some reasons, right? Like in UQ, if you get a 7, you get a 7. And mostly 7s are set at 85%. If you get 85% or more, it's the same as getting 85%. I guess that's one thing. And then the other is most uni courses aren't too difficult, at least at the start. So like getting a 7 is not like a really hard thing to do, at least in my opinion. Maybe some of you would disagree. okay, it's not that bad. But like, to be fully honest, right, like 7 rates in first year courses can go up to like 40%. So you're thinking 40% of the cohort is getting the highest grade. So obviously 40% of the cohort is not putting in all-nighters at the library. So like in that regard, there's nowhere near the same level of competition. I don't know if HKUST has some sort of like competitive grading or anything.
Most of the courses here are curved grading scales, so it's dependent on your peers' performances and everything. And there's also like A minus, A plus. Like getting A range is one thing, and that's only like 20% of the students. But then A range isn't enough to satisfy a lot of students as well, because it's a whole difference between 3.7, 4.0, and 4.3. So really what you want to be going for, if you're chasing after the grades, is a 4.3, and that's A plus, and that's like, 1 or 2 people per class. It's quite competitive in that sense.
Yeah, so I know some courses in UQ do have curved grades, but it's almost never a curve down. It's always a curve up. So like if everyone does bad, then they generally curve all the grades up a little bit so that they have like a reasonable percentage of 7.
Yeah, so what do you think about grades in general? How important do you think grades are to a university student, whether academics is the only thing or not? The culture here is that a lot of people solely focus on the grades and they might miss the bigger picture. So what do you think about that?
Grades are obviously important in uni, but at least for my degree specifically, people don't care fully about the grade so much as where the grade takes you. Your grade is only really needed until you get that internship you're looking for, or like that connection you're looking for, or the grad offer you're looking for. Otherwise, it doesn't really make a difference. No one looks at your resume's GPA if there's a job there already. I know there's like a little bit of a thing with like scholarships, but aside from that, most people care a lot more about like internship, job, than they do about grade necessarily. Grade's just like a sort of tool to get there.
Yeah, I really agree with that, and I try to advocate that sort of idea as well. I mean, it could be a way for myself to find an excuse for myself not getting the best grades anymore compared to year one. But at the same time, what I've come to realize is exactly what you said. It's at the end of the day, grades matter, but it's only to a certain point. And if it gets to the point where you have to like, you know, flip your whole world upside down and just to grind, and you know, if it affects your mental health, there's literally no point for that, considering it's not the only thing or the most important thing when it comes to looking for the dream job, which are like in some cases internships or like your other experiences as well. So I think I really agree with that point as well. Okay, so for yourself, you said you're doing economics and finance, or is it finance and economics? Same thing, okay. So, have you done any internships actually?
I've done a few things. I've done some case comps. So that's like a tiny little glimpse into the experience, and those are mostly consulting and markets. They're fun. I wouldn't say that for everyone, especially like I would put academics first. Like if you know, choose between grinding out 2 a.m. assignment and grinding out 2 a.m. case comp, please choose the assignment. But I think that if you feel like your semester is not, you know, too bad, I'll definitely look into, you know, case comp experience. It's quite fun, especially if you do it with your friends. You can also like sign up individually and sort of meet some new people that way. I've done I guess we'll kind of call it like an internship. So it was a traineeship at PwC. I was doing internal audit, and that was originally going to be 2 years, but I cut it short at about like 3 months or so. I cut it short due to stress mostly, so it was taking a pretty big toll on me trying to do uni and traineeship at the same time. Don't take it as the traineeship's a bad thing to do. I just think it's not a me thing to do, but I still learned like a lot in that internship.
So to end off this video, is there anything that you want to end with, like a one-liner to help students, or if you want to just quickly throw out something out there?
Yeah, my one line of advice: study with the end in mind. It's 2 a.m. You're grinding out that coding assignment. It sucks, but you got to think about why you're doing it. Because the best motivation is intrinsic, not extrinsic. The best motivation comes from like, this is what I want. This is what I am aspiring to. This is what like I think will prove to myself that I am capable. So study with the end in mind, and I think that will take you a lot of places where you want to go.
That's very deep, but it is very true. Daniel's he's a crazy pianist actually. I remember, at least from my memories back in high school, for every like assembly and everything, this guy was the guy just playing. So yeah, what do you do in your free times in uni?
I play piano. What I do, I like to play games. I like to chill. I think lately I've sort of rediscovered the value of just sitting and doing nothing. It's a hard thing to think about, because everyone, like, you always want to do something, right? It feels like when you do nothing, you waste time. But I think a lot of meditation. I mean, meditation's part of it, but I don't really meditate. What I like to think of it more as is just deep thought, especially when I quit my internship. It was a big point, because I was like, this is something that I can't reverse. Right? I can't like quit this internship and then go back a week after. Like, this is a decision. If I make it, then that is that decision. That's it. So what I found a lot of value in is trying to block out basically everything and just sit alone with those thoughts of, this is why I should quit. This is why I shouldn't quit. This is everything to think about. And I think it really, for me at least, I need to have like a physical space of quietness and no distraction to actually be able to do that. And I found like it's more useful than just like major life decisions, I guess. It's nice to just do it every now and then to sort of just really step back, think, where am I in life right now? What are my priorities? You know, maybe like, where should I be doing? What do I want to do? You know, what is important to me right now? What is not important to me right now, but I'm spending a lot of time doing? Stuff like that. So just a step back. I think it's a good, I want to call it like a hobby, but like, I think it's a good use of your free time, and it's certainly something I'm trying to do more of nowadays.
Is that like a way of providing more clarity to you and like sort of emptying your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water?
Yeah, I like the way you put it, clarity. That is the main reason. I think having a goal in mind is important, and when you are in the midst of a lot of, deadlines or whatever, just a little step back of what am I doing this for? Where am I going? I think it's quite valuable. Yeah.
I think that's great, because what you said is literally like the antithesis of the major theme at like HKUST, for example. Like, it's non-stop, right? You wouldn't stop even during holidays. Like, I'm going into this holiday with an internship, maybe 2, with my YouTube channel, and a bunch of other stuff, startups and stuff, and case comps. Would you say like every day, like, have some time to yourself where you really just, slam the brakes and think about what you're really doing everything for, right? You're not just doing it like mindlessly. You have to have a goal. You have to know where you're headed. I think that's a good thing, and I might actually adopt that as well.
I mean, it's not necessarily like, you have to do this every day. But like, I know you said like antithesis to what HKUST is about, like non-stop grinding. And I like to provide an alternative perspective. I think it's beneficial. So non-stop grinding, of course, isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, I know a lot of maybe like Australian viewers might see non-stop grinding, go, oh, you're going to get burnt out. And maybe some of the Hong Kong viewers will say, oh, non-stop grinding, like, oh yeah, that's what life is about. But like, I don't think these are necessarily contradictory. You can be non-stop grinding and still, take a pause. Like, no one is actually non-stop grinding. You know what I mean? No one actually 24/7 is on their computer studying. You guys have to eat lunch.
Man, you were a rock star. But you're not that guy.
I'm sorry if you thought.
So, and maybe you're still eating lunch like this while studying, but like, you guys still have to eat lunch. You guys still have to, go to the toilet. You guys are not studying, literally 24/7.
Yeah.
For me, it helps to actually be, in a sort of like sound-free kind of area to sort of recollect my thoughts. Like, I kind of like to do it at night before I go to sleep. Keep yourself in check, however that might be.
The camera just died, so I don't know where it ended. But anyway, I don't know where to begin.
Classic James for.
I did think he was going to give me the jacket because it's a little cold, but that's classic James.
Yeah, I guess whatever Daniel said, I'm pretty sure it didn't run out. Like, it ran out like during the middle of your wisdom speech, that the camera was so like.
You guys might never get to hear what I said. I was dropping. If you didn't get to hear it,
bars.
it was fire. It was like, like. Snoop Dogg would be proud. Like, that's all I can say.
Mainly, it was about like subconsciously change your mindset to think about, what you're doing things for. So you're not like a mindless robot.
Give yourself the motivation by having your end in mind. So like, always just taking a step back, and the step back doesn't need to be fully physical in a room secluded. Like, step back can just be when you go to the toilet, you little time to have a deep breath, really just think, what am I doing this all for? So it's a really important thing to have.
So either way, the audio could be bad, but we're gonna end off the video here. Daniel, do you want to do an outro for us?
Bye guys, it was Jam here with who was Daniel. Doesn't really work past tense in your outro.
Why would you past tense an outro?
Well, cause.
Alright guys, this was an interview with a man who was Daniel. This was Jam, and thank you for everything today. And we wish you the best for when you go back to Australia.
Yeah, I wish you the best for when you go back to Australia.
True, that's true. And I'll put his links, all socials, whatever he wants, down in the description. If you want, you can check him out as well. Cool. So, any last words? I mean, not last words.
Any last words? Oh, guys, might be over for me.
Any last words before I eat you?
John, if you're watching this, me when I'm John, I'm watching the video and I liked it, and subscribe because James is really cool.
This guy is cooler. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!
you in the next one. North 23, North 24, North 25, North 26. You're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be amazing. No, it's they split it to ABC time zones now.
Actually?
Yeah, it's 3 time zones in May now.
Well,
So have fun.
have fun.
Have fun with physics paper 3. It'll be great.